Giannis Antetokounmpo has been a legitimate candidate for MVP since the beginning of the season. He's averaging a career high in a bunch of categories. Rebounds, assists, shooting percentage, win shares, he's having the best season of his career, no question about that. The Milwaukee Bucks have also been at the top of the East, or near the top of the East for a good portion of the season, with a real chance to reach the finals. But what makes Giannis different than any other superstar we've ever seen? How's it going, ladies and gents? My name's Andy, and today we're going to talk about Giannis and how he's been dominating the NBA in a way we've never seen before. First, let me give you a stat. 18 points. That's how many points per game that Giannis is averaging in the paint. That's more points in the paint than any other player since Shaquille O'Neal in the 2002-03 season. But even though both him and Shaq draw double, triple teams in the paint and still score, they do it in different ways. Shaq was, by all means, a traditional center who got position in the post and scored. Shaq routinely led the league in post-ups per game for the majority of his prime. And while Giannis does post up a lot, he's merely 8th in the league in post-ups per game. On the other hand, he's top 15 in the league in drives per game, a category that's always been dominated by guards. Unlike Shaq, a lot of Giannis's points in the paint come off of drives and slashes to the rim. The crazy thing is, everyone sees it coming. Opposing teams know Giannis wants to charge towards the rim, so they defend him very loosely. But even though when they do back off and everyone sees him coming, Giannis is still impossible to stop. He's essentially a 6'11" wing player, yet he's stronger, longer, and jumps higher than the majority of NBA centers. A player with a guard's handling and dribble skills, yet stronger and more athletic than most centers, when was the last time something like that happened? Probably never. Nearly 60% of his shots come between 0 and 3 feet. And he makes those shots 78% of the time. Basically, when Giannis is that close to the rim, you can bet on him making the shots. Both of those percentages are career highs, by far. Giannis is taking and making way more shots at the rim this season than any other of his career. His incredible play has not gone unnoticed. Knicks coach David Fizdale said that, "The guy is, right now, to me, the best player in the league." When asked about how to stop him, he said, "You got a tractor? You got a tank?" Over the past few years, the Milwaukee Bucks have been in the playoff conversation, but under Jason Kidd, they weren't really contenders. Nothing more than a first-round exit. But under Coach Budenholzer, it's been a whole different story. The Bucks were a top 10 offensive team under Jason Kidd, but only 20th in the league in defense. Now, they're top 5 in both categories. Their defense especially, it took a huge jump. The main reason is because the Bucks started to focus more on threes, taking more threes, and defending more threes. But another huge reason is probably because of a culture change. According to Giannis, when he was asked about the difference between playing for Kidd or playing for Budenholzer, he stated, "I don't know what the difference is. Probably Jason would have yelled at us and we would have stayed close in the shell. And sometimes when guys got yelled at, they had a tendency to not play as hard and play a little bit more scared. But with Coach Bud, it's always coming from a good place. He gives you the green light, but he's always going to scold you. He's going to talk to you, like when you're messing up, he's going to let you know. But when you're doing good stuff, he's always going to tell you and make you feel positive and make you play for the team." Now, some of the credit for Giannis' success should also go to his teammates. None of his teammates have been more important than Brook Lopez, who became the perfect frontcourt partner for Giannis. For most of his career, Lopez was a post-up player, a great post-up player, arguably the best in the league for a couple years. But over the last few years, he slowly transformed his game, and this season with the Bucks, he's a completely different player than before. In fact, Lopez's transformation might be even crazier than Giannis's, as he's now shooting about 7 threes a game at a 38% clip. That's a huge reason why Giannis has more space to work with and can get to the rim easier, cause Splash Mountain is the best three-point shooting center in the league. He's also arguably the best at boxing out, which is why Giannis's rebounding numbers have increased as well. He's even said before that Lopez greatly helped his game, and also became a veteran voice in the locker room. Additionally, a less talked about part of Giannis's game is his ridiculous defensive versatility. Fans always throw out the phrase, X player could guard all 5 positions. But realistically, nobody in history could guard all 5 positions for an extended period of time. During LeBron's prime, he could guard 1 through 4, but he did not guard centers effectively, especially not any legit center like Dwight. Occasionally, he would switch onto them, but he was not a great option to guard them. Draymond Green falls into the same category as well, and while he handles most small ball centers fine, he still struggles against bigger centers or faster guards, while Giannis has a better time dealing with them. In my opinion, Giannis is the first guy who we could say legitimately guards all 5 positions, because at certain points over the last 2 years, that's exactly what he's done. Jason Kidd used to play him primarily as a perimeter player, and he would spend a lot of time defending other guards. That was the year he made an all-defensive team and won Most Improved Player. Other times, especially nowadays, he would spend plenty of time guarding centers and power forwards because he likes chilling in the paint. He could also guard everyone else in between. According to NBA.com's stat dashboard, Giannis holds opponents to shooting only 40.8% from the field, about 6% lower than the league average of players at his position. The transformation of Giannis on the court has been incredible, but his transformation off the court has been just as crazy. Entering the NBA, Giannis was listed as being 6'9", 196 pounds. He was a twig. He weighed even less than Kevin Durant when he was a rookie. Now, about 5 years later, Giannis came into the 2018-19 season weighing 242 pounds, as he gained almost 50 pounds since his rookie season. You could clearly tell from these photos the staggering difference between 2013 Giannis and 2018 Giannis. I think he's had the biggest body transformation in recent history, and it's certainly helped him on the court. I mentioned earlier that his sheer dominance in the paint is something that we haven't seen since Shaq, and packing on 50 pounds allows him to do what he does, to absorb contact and still finish over even the biggest players. Oh, and he also grew 2 inches, so apparently he went from 6'9" to 6'11" barefoot. Unfortunately, the rest of his game has not been improving as much as he hoped. Giannis is hovering around 36% from mid-range distance, which is slightly better than his career average, but he's shooting way fewer mid-range shots this season than any other season before. That's mainly due to the Bucks' game plan though, as they try to reduce the long twos. However, from 3, Giannis is struggling even more than before. He's currently taking the most 3-pointers per game of his career, but he's shooting a whopping 17%. Out of all qualifying players throughout NBA history who took at least 2 threes a game, Giannis is shooting the lowest percentage out of all of them. Obviously, that hasn't really affected him or the Bucks because they've been having their best season in nearly 20 years. Normally, in the playoffs, you'd look at a guy like Giannis and say, man, if he can't shoot, then other teams will easily take advantage of that. That's what happened in the previous 2 seasons when the Bucks lost to Toronto and Boston. But this season has been different because Giannis is killing everyone in the paint even when the defense collapses on him. The extra pounds of muscle he put on definitely helps. Within a span of 5 years, Giannis essentially went from a skinny, lanky guard to a powerhouse in the paint. That's unprecedented and it's never happened before. It's an extreme change of playstyle. Players and coaches around the league recognize the growth of Giannis. From LeBron to Durant to Steph Curry, James Harden, they've all mentioned that Giannis was next in line to take over the league. And he also wants to do it without working out with his competition. Looking at how far he's come, he's been very successful and it's been a crazy ride. At one point, everyone was saying how he was such a raw prospect with very little knowledge of the game, and that was fair. He was relatively unknown before coming to the NBA, with his highest level of competition being the second-tier basketball league in Greece. In fact, he was only averaging about 9 points and 5 rebounds a game in Greece. His only upside was his raw potential and decent court vision, prompting scouts to believe that he might be able to play point forward in the NBA. But I guess it's safe to say that Giannis did indeed reach his potential, and he's going even further beyond. That's all, folks. That sums up Giannis' season so far. He's been destroying the league in ways that nobody has ever seen before, and while his jump shot is still a work in progress, he's still been dominating everyone. Let me know your thoughts on Giannis. How far do you think he could take the Bucks? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.